This Week in Blizz is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use the code TWiB at checkout, that's TWiB, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system. We thank DoghouseSystems.com for their support of This Week in Blizz. And also TweakedAudio.com. Go to TweakedAudio.com for high-performance, noise-reducing earbuds. Use our code TWiB to get 30% off plus free shipping on your next order, and support This Week in Blizz in the process.
Armed and ready. Who wants some? This week in Blizz.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to This Week in Blizz. I'm Garrett Weinzierl.
I'm Ben Zweifel.
And I'm Kyle Ferguson.
And this is the show keeping you up to date on the worlds of Blizzard entertainment. Gentlemen, it's another week, and one of us turned a year older yesterday. Happy birthday, Ben!
Happy birthday, man.
Yeah, I'm old now.
You're old. What are you, 26?
Yep.
Oh, welcome to the friggin' club.
Yeah.
So I'm the youngest on the show then.
You are the youngest on the show. You little pink-cheeked
I've only got a month.
25-year-old for one more night. I know. Isn't that scary? You get over 25. Like, first I thought, like, 21, like, okay, parties are no longer going to matter. Like, but then, like, it's like, okay, all right. Now at 25, I hit 26. Now it's really like,
Oh, shit, I better get a real job, huh?
yeah, there's like, married dudes in their 40s with kids listening to this right now. They're just like, seriously, I hope these guys choke and die mid-sentence.
Yep.
But, yeah. Well, you're already married and you have a job, so you win.
Yeah, well, sort of.
You're sort of married?
No, sort of got a job. Well,
Oh, okay. Well, I was a smuggler for a Firefly-class
very...
ship, and we ended up on this backwoods planet, and I accidentally got married.
Yeah. No, that was very intentional.
Okay. Gotcha. I was there. It looked very intentional. You seemed to...
It was not spur of the
You
moment.
seemed to know exactly what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways. Welcome back, everyone. This is the weekly wrap-up news show for everything Blizzard-related. We're going to kick it off this week with not Warcraft, not StarCraft, and not Diablo news. We're going to talk a little Blizzard All-Stars. Because Blizzard had their earnings call this past week, and a part of in the press release were some slides, and in that slide included this very slide. Let me see if I can pop it open for you guys. And it basically says, no Blizzard All-Stars in 2000.
Well, it specifically puts it lists two different dates under Blizzard, and one of them is 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about new content for World of Warcraft, the Hearthstone beta, Diablo 3 for PS3. And then they have a second heading that just says long term, and underneath that is Blizzard All-Stars and a new unannounced MMO.
Yep.
It is not very granular. It's pretty rough. This is not their detailed plans of anything.
Yeah, it's very, very open.
Right. I mean, this was from the investor phone call, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and this is a slide mixed in with many, and this is not even a dedicated slide. This is a tiny portion of a given slide.
Right, but with Blizzard's timelines, if they even hint to like, yeah, it's not happening this year, you know it's not happening this year.
No, definitely not. There's no
because
way.
Nowhere in the history of Blizzard have they gone, I don't think it's going to come out this year, and then have they ever surprised us with an early release of anything. Ever.
No, not.
I bet at the Blizzard
I think a patch
HQ
once or twice came out slightly earlier than they
Yeah.
meant, but that was about it.
But I bet you at Blizzard HQ, when they put in a toilet, like a new bathroom, that thing probably opens up 2 weeks later than expected. Like, guys, we've got new bathrooms on floor 3, but I'm sorry.
When it's ready, okay?
it's not performing as intended, so we're gonna have to push back.
Not performing at the level that the bar that they've set for themselves.
Many died at the Blizzard cook-off this year.
And then they go the ghost route and scrap the entire bathroom, and floor 3 is very unhappy, and they all look very uncomfortable if you go up there. But anyways, also a minor note. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, but that's not really a surprise. I don't think anybody's actually expecting it this year. Were we?
At this point, I don't know. Because they first showed it 3 years ago, and they're like, yeah, it's just going to be fun. We're just going to put it out whenever. It's just going to be an addition to the StarCraft thing. And then the next year, they were like, guys, we're getting very serious about this. This is going to be a real game.
With the growth of the sort of League of Legends, Dota 2 type esports stuff, I think they can't not take it seriously because there's a lot of competition out there.
Yes.
As that's becoming bigger and bigger and more serious, they have to handle it a little differently, I think. But this didn't surprise me when I read it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just disappointed. I really want to play this damn thing.
I'm so totally indifferent about it. It's incredible.
Well, you don't play MOBAs.
Right.
At all.
Is that the term we're using now?
It's the term they've always used forever.
What exactly does the acronym stand for?
Kyle, help me out on this.
Oh, God, I got Defense of the Agents. All right, hang on. Jeez, we got the internet right in front of us.
Multiplayer online battle arena.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
I knew Battle Arena was the last part. I'm like, it's probably just.
Is this because the League of Legends is not calling itself a Dota game?
No, they've always been called MOBA. It's like looking at RTS and be like, oh, is that what we're calling it now? It's
no. I just hadn't heard the term up until very recently. It's probably one thing that now that I know it, I'll probably start noticing it everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's just me being dumb. I don't think it's anything else.
well, you finally have Boot Camp on your Mac, so you really need to play some Dota, man, because that game is fun.
Yeah. I've been
League of Legends, that's the Pepsi to my Coke. F that noise, I don't care. But I love Dota 2.
I'm just hoping in their strive to make this an esport that they're not losing the intent of Blizzard All-Stars. Because originally...
I don't think they'll make it an esport. They pretty much said that they won't. Initially, I'd be surprised if that was actually the intention, but they have to do it well, because if it's a bad game and if it doesn't have the same nuance and the same balance, then it's a no-brainer to go to the competitors, especially if they're free to play too.
If it's not an esport though, then it's almost like, what's the point?
Yes, but we can still have an esport without last hit and still have some of the more interesting things like mounts instead of boots and all that.
I hope they put the Blizzard spin on it, because honestly, you get into Dota 2 as a new player and it is frustrating as all get out.
Yeah. Well, and take what we've learned from Diablo, because that's probably my favorite augmentation system of any game I've played. In Dota, you are always getting items. Like, let's say, you got ice attack. Well, now your attack looks like it's made of ice. It hits them, it frosts them down, and makes them slowed. I really hope when you get items that each character has their own sort of augmentation they go through.
You want custom models so that you can visibly see, like, oh, you got new gloves. They have new gloves.
Yeah. Will they go that far though? If I have Arthas,
Blizzard probably not. They're not a big fan of making a lot of geometry. Let's be honest.
I don't want Arthas to not look like Arthas anymore. Like, I could see where, like, maybe your hands will slightly glow once you get magical.
Well, the thing is, it would be kind of like, if they did that, I think it would be very much kind of like the way D3 handles items like that, where, like, each class there, like, you might get an upgrade and it might be different looking, but it is still unique to the class.
True, but
it still fits,
again, since it's all Blizzard heroes, they're very much
right. And the other thing that you have to balance too is how much information can your opponent glean from the fact that, like, can he see that you're wearing this fancy cape of awesomeness that somehow, like, influences the gameplay? Like, is that an important piece of information to high-level players? Like, I don't really know anything about games like this, but that just strikes me as something that, in a very competitive arena like that, is important.
Mm-hmm. In MOBAs, you if someone's dead, that man is going around clicking on every single opposing hero and telling their team what they're wearing, what they're sporting. I mean,
so it's a lot like StarCraft in the sense that you can click on an enemy unit and see, like... Yep. Okay.
Exactly, right. Except you don't have items in StarCraft, you have upgrades, but it's the same basic principle.
For the record, blows my mind that they turned that off by default in HOTS. Like, I don't understand why that was a decision that somebody made. That just took me so long. I'm like, did they remove it in a patch? Like, I couldn't figure it out.
The only thing I think of is they must have done some kind of test or look at numbers that new players keep trying to control enemy units. That's the only thing I can think of.
That is so idiotic. It's unbelievable.
Hey, that's like having monster power off from the beginning. One of my favorite features of Diablo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. So, anyways, I'm excited for it. Ben, we need to get you into Dota. Kyle, I know you can't wait. I call Arthas, by the way. You can't have him.
All right,
Watch
very
as he just turns into this terrible hero that like is not good at anything.
Oh, he'll be
Well,
patched later.
Arthas.
He'll be patched. He'll become the paladin of Blizzard All Stars. You know, Ghost Crawler's just sitting there like, I hate this guy. I'm going to keep nerfing him into the ground.
Exactly.
Thanks, Ghost Crawler.
But it would be. I personally want this to be approached from an esports perspective because I think it makes for a better game.
I do.
You know
I
what I
do.
mean?
And like I previously said, I think if you're going to make a MOBA and you don't have esports in mind, you shouldn't make a MOBA.
Yeah.
Right. But
Sorry, go ahead.
there's so many tropes we can be done with in the MOBA scene.
Yes.
You think it's time to innovate?
Absolutely.
Streamline that shit, man.
Dude, I mean, Dota 2 is great, but I've been playing that same exact game for 7+ years.
And let's be clear, it's pretty clunky. I mean, it literally came out of what Warcraft 3 mod, right?
It's a Warcraft.
Which was a custom map for that. So I mean, that's kind of like, yeah, it just strikes me as
It'd be like if
there
Nexus
could be more
Wars
finesse.
broke off and became a.
God, can you imagine?
But I mean, there's a lot. I mean, we're kind of talking down to Dota. It is an incredibly nuanced experience. It's very well made.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I agree. And, funny enough, Kyle, you know what I just learned this week is that they still update the original Dota to match the balance of Dota 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Blew my mind. I think that's so cool.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah.
But in the respect to like, oh, this is an esport, this is not an esport. Like, I think if you make it with the intention of it not being a competitive thing, people will not take it seriously. Look at Diablo 3, for instance. I mean, granted, that's a really difficult system to make work, and nobody ever assumed that it would properly work with that. But the fact that they explicitly stated, like, hey, this is not going to be esports material, and we're not going to handle it as such, I think was detrimental, right?
Well, to a point. At the same hand, like that game, I would look at someone and go, "Why the hell would you even expect it to be esports related?"
Yeah, sure, but I mean, that's what they said initially for this, Blizzard All Stars, isn't
Right,
it?
but
I'm not
they
making that up.
backpedaled so hard the following year.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the entire kind of landscape for the game had changed completely from when I saw it in 2010.
Right. Initially, it was like, hey, here's a cool example of a map you could make.
Right, it looked very much like a chessboard and yada, yada, yada. And then come 2011, they're like, yeah, we went back to the drawing board, we threw everything out, and pretty much started fresh.
Hey, now, because I have absolutely no understanding of these games whatsoever, there's more than one map, right? Or is there just
No, there
one?
is not. There's one map.
Okay, all right, that's not just me then. That just seems, yeah. All right, I'm not going to go there.
Thank you. We appreciate it. No, but I mean, it's the mixture of heroes. You got some like 50+ heroes. Only 10 of them are going to be a single map. Combinations are what make a game, not the map.
No, for sure. I just you'd think there would be like visual variety, even if the layout is identical. Like just having like the snow version of the map would be interesting, right? I mean,
sure.
It just strikes me as if you're going to make a full. Go ahead.
And Valve has innovated that much to say that we have a Halloween version of the map, we have a Christmas version of the map, here's the spring version of the map. All exactly the same, trees in the same placement. But yeah, I mean, Blizzard said they're going to have more than one map. I'm hoping they still do. I'm hoping there's a lot of conversation between the heroes. I mean, we're going to have them all in there. Why not voice act them, have them actually interact, teach people who only ever played WoW who this damn, Kerrigan is, and spread the word. I mean, Super Smash Bros. It.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot of flavor that could definitely go into it.
Yep. I think we spent enough time talking MOBAs on a minor.
Sorry, I'm just curious.
No, it's hard. I'm sure I'm assuming there are listeners that are probably in the exact same boat as you. So hopefully we cleared things up for some people. On a minor note, tomorrow is the last day that you can change BlizzCon attendee information. So if you're one of those bastards who are scalping tickets, first off, you are a bastard. Secondly, I hope you sold it for tomorrow. Otherwise, you get what you deserve. But you can still, I think, change stuff in person. So if you got a buddy, obviously they get sick or something, can't go, you can be like, oh, well, I guess I'll just take my other friend. And as long as someone's there in person, you can swap things over. So just as a little more confusing, yeah. But cool. I can't wait for BlizzCon. Look at my calendar every day. I'm just like, November, why aren't you here yet? So, anywho, that wraps up the top of the show. Let's get into World of Warcraft news. With the oh my god, my brain. With the press release and the earnings report that happened this past week, we got an update on World of Warcraft subscriber numbers, and as expected, they've dropped, at least as I expected. But pretty drastically, we're down to 8.3 million, and they said that most of that decline came from users in China. So I believe last reported they were up past, they're comfortably past 9 million, 9.6 million last quarter.
And we're down to what, 8.3. 8.3. Okay.
So, of course, Kotaku and Joystick and every other gaming journalist site puts out their quarterly "World of Warcraft is dead" article. Right. Which is, of course, except last quarter where we were actually up. We're like, oh my god, World of Warcraft might not be dead. It happens, so that's fun. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Yeah, that's about my thoughts too. Yeah, I don't feel like the game is going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen like charts of other MMOs?
I've
in
watched.
Comparison to WoW.
I've played MMOs where I've actually watched a game die.
Yeah,
that's fun. Yeah. You log in, you go to a capital city, and there's like 3 dudes. This was called the Old Republic. By the way.
I have absolutely no idea if this is current or not. It seems like it could be. I don't know, but like the next closest is like in the 2.5 million subscriber mark. You know what I mean? Like not close at all.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how like going down to 8.5 million is dying. Because I mean, as long as the game stays profitable, it'll stay more than alive until they decide to kill it off themselves with a new entity. But even then, they'll continue supporting it for years.
Yeah, I'm sure eventually it'll wane to a point where they're like, okay, we're going free to play or something.
Right. My understanding is that a lot of the, I guess a lot of the competition in China is other free-to-play MMOs, which are very popular over there. But yeah, okay. I mean, that happened.
Yeah,
I don't think it's really a big consequence in either direction, because it's still like just so tremendously successful by such a significant margin that they would literally have to drop another 6 million subscribers for it to be like for them to change the way they're doing business.
Right, exactly, and like I don't even know. And in the chat room saying, like, expansions aren't going to stop until they release Titan, and I don't even think they're going to stop then. I don't think they're going to be close to stopping when Titan comes out, because they've already said that we have no intention for Titan to even really target the same genre.
Right.
So,
but, I mean, it seems like the time commitment required will be similar.
Right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of decisions will be made by users, but it doesn't matter if their user base is split between 2 games to them.
I'll probably still be playing both.
I'll probably be still be subscribed to both. That's for sure.
Yeah, if Titan is even subscription based, which I don't think it's going to be.
You don't? What do you suspect? The microtransactions?
Probably. You look at the landscape, and no other subscription MMO can make it.
Right.
It's just World of Warcraft. Everyone else.
Right, but you wonder how much of that is the dominance of World of Warcraft.
I think at this point it's not.
Right.
Back when they were at 12 million plus, yes, I think that's exactly what it was. But now, it's either WoW or you play a free to play. And I don't think anyone's. I sure as hell don't expect to pay monthly for any other game.
Yeah.
So. I wouldn't be surprised for Blizzard subscription.
Oh, you mean
I'd be cool with that?
Something where it just kind of rolls in all their games?
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, man,
I'm totally fine with that.
I need Steam for Blizzard because I'm getting sick of playing a game of StarCraft, wanting to do a run of something, having to log in and log out again. And the ability to turn yourself offline before you get in the game.
Yep, that'd be nice.
So
Like,
the
oh,
mysterious...
Kyle popped up, then he's gone.
He must not want to talk to me.
You're standing
That
right
guy's
next
a real jerk.
right next to him in the auction house. Like, Kyle, I can see you. I call him up. Dude, stop ignoring me. Shh. I have a stalker. I don't want them to know I'm here. You know, it's fun stuff. But no, I don't think WoW's going anywhere anytime soon. Like, and this is me talking on my ass, but I feel like they could go down to like below 3 million and still be profitable at a subscription.
Oh yeah, they could still be. We literally don't know any of the numbers involved, but they could go very, very much lower than they currently are. That's for sure.
Right.
The margin of error, and it seems like how much time and effort they actually need to put into maintaining the game, not developing new content for the game, but maintaining the game is not like this is. They basically sit there and collect money with this. I mean, that's
Right.
They're a money printing factory.
Right. They're very good about updating the game, though, and giving us new content, which is why it has stayed as high as it has for so long, whereas other games have floundered, which was the biggest issue with the Old Republic.
Yep.
Got in, there's like one raid, there's a PvP planet that's broken, and they never fixed it. I'm sure it's fixed by now, but it's too little too late. Anyways, moving on. 5.3 is a patch on the horizon of this game that is nowhere near dead, and coming with it are a bunch of heirloom changes. So we're getting, the heirloom items that were introduced in the previous patch, 5.2, which is what we're all currently playing, most notably shoulders and some weapons, will have their cost reduced by 60% in patch 5.3. Also, in addition to this, 2 heirloom shields will be added, the Weathered Observer Shield and the Flame-Scarred Draconian Deflector.
Man, I love when they add these back in, because these are models that just bring back vanilla memories every time.
The Weathered Observer Shield is still one of my favorite shield designs. I love that thing.
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
Yeah, it's good.
They're both pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, they hold up.
This is smart. This is, like, the timing is right for this. They did the same thing to other, like, cheaper Valor Point gear. They reduced the price by a percentage. I think it was also 60% or around that. And people they've leveled up their main character. They're doing whatever they need to stay at level or to stay, for gear and stuff. But other than that, like right now, I'm not playing unless I'm raiding. There's no reason for me to be doing it, really. I've done some dailies occasionally sometimes, but right now there's not a huge reason to keep playing that guy. So bringing down the cost of what?
It's personal playstyle too. I mean, there's some people out there who only play 1-2 because they want to collect everything in the game. True.
But let's say at the very beginning of an expansion, for instance, you're going to see a much higher part of the population in the game playing on high-level characters. Whereas right now, I imagine a lot more people are drifting off into doing other stuff, whatever it may be. Like if there's that warrior you want to level, now's the time to do it.
Yeah. Well, and I think this speaks to the subscriber numbers as well. And it's a good choice for Blizzard. You're going to have these ebb and flows, big raids come out, everyone's going to resubscribe and get back in the game that has a max character ready to do it. And either they're going to cancel their subscription after that month, or they're going to keep playing on ults. So retain the ones you can and bring back the ones you can.
Yep.
I used to do that. For the longest time, I would go in these stints of unsubscribing and then resubscribing. I'd take a break for 3 months. I'd jump back in, play for 4 months. Unsubscribe for 2, jump back in for 6.
Yeah, you're getting fully employed. Just like, that's too much effort.
Yeah. But like right now I'm playing incredibly casually. I'm not raiding with you guys anymore, so I'm just doing LFR here, do some dailies there. I really want to start PvPing, but I need some PvP friends. It's lonely out there.
Yeah, it can be rough.
Yeah. So, anyway, speaking of 5.3, Blizzard wants you to get prepared for it. They released a post preparing players for 5.3, touching on the notable features of this next content patch, including the return of item upgrades, revealing that heroic scenarios will require an eye level of 480, which is the same as the Throne of Thunder LFR, and detailing the changes to PvP resilience functionality. So that's interesting about heroic scenarios.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to heroic scenarios.
Are you?
I think they're going to be cool. Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. You can basically do this without a tank or a healer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You just need 2 other buddies to do it with. It's the barrier to entry for it is so much lower than like a more complete group.
Right, exactly. And now since I'm playing my hunter more, Gary, you want to come? Sure, why not?
Sure.
It's none of
But
this.
also,
Oh, do you have a hunter? Oh, do you have too many DPS? Oh, do you? No, it's just go.
I feel like heroic scenarios offer one of the biggest potential for like really cool plays, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like having being a DPS and pulling off something cool, like you could kite a guy or use distracting shot or do whatever, like use a lot of those utility spells that you never touch.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas normally you have a tank, he comes in, he AoE tanks it, you do your most efficient rotation possible, you kill the guys as fast as you can, the healer sits there, and occasionally if there's a heal on whoever needs it. You know what I mean? If they really have nothing to do, they might DPS a little bit. But that's basically it. You don't really do a whole lot of other stuff. But if it's 3 DPS and you're trying to do it as fast as you can, I mean, it becomes a lot more interesting because you take healers out of the equation, right?
Yeah.
So you're not sitting there going, oh, I know I'll get healed, and if I don't, we die. You know what I mean? You're actually responsible for your own health, and there's not a tank to pick up everything and just that you can blame if something goes wrong. It becomes way more dynamic, I feel, taking those roles out of the equation. I could be wrong. It could be really boring, but it just sounds like it could be interesting.
You immediately, or everything I just said could just not matter.
Yeah, that's just a hunch I have. That was
Gotcha.
my point.
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I very much always kind of gravitated to these kind of games because I like the idea of I am a tank. I go to the front and I smack the giant dragon in its nuts, and I can't see shit for the next 20 minutes of the fight because this thing is so big. But I always liked that. At the same time, I get bored and I'm like, I just want to grab a big two-handed axe and kill shit. So scenarios let me live out that fantasy.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying with the creation of interesting and dynamic gameplay, where it's like everybody has to do a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very fun, and it makes a good ecosystem for those of us like you know who I'm talking about. We have friends who we would have raided with back in the day, and they're like, I'm gonna pull everything and be ridiculous and see how oh my god, yeah, it's awesome, and it's an environment that's very good for
it's fun.
The inner rogue that wants to just body pull out the room.
Exactly.
Right.
But it's pretty similar to that. But
it's fun.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So, there is that. So, get prepared for that upcoming patch. It should be coming very soon. It is time to talk a little StarCraft, gentlemen. We have the results of the patch 2.0.8 balance testing. We had the balance test map up for almost a week, and David Kim posted the results this past Friday, or not? It had to be before that because we were talking about on StarCast. It was on Friday. I don't remember what day it was. It was last week, after our previous show, but before this one. Anyways, they said that, or David Kim said that across all 3 regions, that pro level balance is looking very well balanced.
For lack of a better word, right?
Exactly. They're not noticing any terrible imbalances in any way for any of the 3 races, so that's interesting. They also said that ladder data is showing no sign of imbalance at any skill level.
That's a pretty incredible statement.
Yeah.
Think about what he just said.
Yeah. Well, Heart of the Swarm it's been really impressive.
Yeah,
I mean, don't you guys think? Just from a purely gut reaction, I mean, when we came into Wings of Liberty at launch, it was ridiculous. Every other, every 2 weeks, it was like, oh, we're going to change this, going to change that. The bunker's changing again and again, and they couldn't stop tweaking the frickin' bunker by, 1 point in either direction. Eventually, they were just like, maybe Terrans shouldn't be able to build a barracks as their first damn thing. We should probably make Supply Depot first. They were always tweaking something. With Heart of the Swarm,
it feels like there's a super deep understanding of the game for them now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, everything is mapped out.
Well, and the base didn't change at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's some pretty sweeping changes. I mean, you can't compare Wings of Liberty to Heart of the Swarm and go, oh, there's no difference. I mean, if you just changed one of the elements, it would be dramatically different. But they've incorporated all the different changes into making it a really nice balanced environment.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Kyle, do you remember which pro it was that we had on StarCast that basically said, well, Wings of Liberty is like the skeleton, and now Heart of the Swarm, it's like we're adding, the muscle and tissue.
Oh, man.
It's a
How can I
very
help you out?
apt description.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
brilliant, and now I cannot for the life of me remember which guest it was that said it. It was before Heart of the Swarm, so it was either Suppy or Desro or...
Might have been Vibe.
Props.
Oh, I think it might have been Vibe. I think it was Vibe. I'm going to go back and listen to it tomorrow now because it's bothering me so much.
Yeah, because he wasn't afraid of the expansion. Lots of the pro players we had during then were pretty nervous or not getting it or not participating, but he was
Widow
down.
mines are terrible. Nobody's gonna play with them, or they're the best thing ever.
Oh, it's remarkable how many pros we talked... Well, I would actually say not remarkable. How many pros we talked to who weren't playing in the beta. And it makes sense now because it's like, well, they were still playing in Wings of Liberty tournament, so obviously they're
Right, yeah.
playing what makes them money and that they actually need to
Yeah.
win at.
You don't ever want to be in a situation where you go, I know, I'm gonna build. Oh wait, I can't.
Because every Terran would be like, I'm going to make Widow my own. I'm going to make
this
siege
one
tanks.
has some-
Where's my siege mode? Oh, I still have to research it. That would
Yeah.
just be terrible. But
Yes.
yeah, Heart of the
That's
Swarm's been
probably
good.
the biggest thing.
Yeah. David Kim also said that they think it's too early to be making changes to promote different types of play. Even at the pro level, ZVP, for example, has changed a lot within the last couple of weeks, which makes us think players still need time to explore the game. So, the Oracle change, the Burrow change, they said could be problematic, as everyone has been so keen as to point out, and they really don't want to risk messing up the game that's already very solid. Especially since the game is still changing frequently without balance patches, we just don't think it's a good time to be exploring new options yet.
I think this is just PR right here. And what they really did was got together a bunch of information from us that brought attention to those units or that burrow upgrade. And now they know. And in
You
the
think
future,
this
they
is-
probably will change it.
Part of some elaborate strategy to bring like a
Subliminal.
public understanding to the fact that these units can do these things.
So this
Sure.
is subliminal meta.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened.
They're shifting the metagame just by talking about it.
Look what happened with the Protoss upgrades back in the day. Granted, the Forge does have 3 different kinds of upgrades on it, but did Protoss really need that price reduction in those? Not really, but Protoss wasn't getting any upgrades and getting schooled by 3-3 Terran.
So you're telling me Blizzard is the silence from Doctor Who?
Did they reverse?
No, they
The-
left it in.
Yeah, exactly. God, I can't even imagine if they were more expensive. I can barely afford them as it is. I've been playing a little bit of Protoss recently. It's been fun.
Gotcha.
I think I need to go back to Protoss.
No, we had a good time in our 3v3.
Our 3v3s are great. Those are the
Yeah.
best team games I've ever had. They were
They were
really-
remarkably back and forth. I don't. Yeah,
they were good fun.
we were well matched.
Yeah, probably because before you jumped in, Kyle, Ben and I had just gotten rolled. So it was like, oh, okay, well,
did?
these two guys. Didn't we? Oh, no, we won, but it was against some bronzers. So I don't know. I think it was just like, these guys, we should give
It was
us
pretty
some-"
one-sided. I don't think they had built anything really.
Yeah, no, sorry. It was the week before we had a hard time. But
Well, that's because you guys are good at building endgame armies, and I'm not, frankly. But I'm very good at being busy for the
every
entire
game
mid-game.
I have played with Kyle in the last month comes down to this. We're dying, Kyle. Where are your units? Oh, all I've got are swarm hosts, man.
Go with the flow.
Why?
guys. Go with the flow.
Why are
Swarm
you
horse, and they're all
massing?
burrowed in my base. I hope that's fine.
For the love of God, why? This is not even me doing a drama. Why are you only making swarm hosts?
Because they're good.
Because they're cool.
They're not that good. You need like 5. They're a garnish. They're not a main course, sir.
Artosis would disagree.
Yes, you wouldn't disagree.
And,
Either you
and,
need
and how
2,
well does
or you need
Artosis do
30.
in tournaments, sir?
Better than you, I suspect.
I'm sure he does.
So, nah.
Yeah, but also better than Kyle. So,
Yes, that's true as well.
anyways, doesn't matter. David Kim also said. David Kim also said that change for ZVZ is still looking like it's necessary, specifically for ZVZ. He said that we are starting to think that defending against early Mutalisk harasses are so much easier now with the Spore change. The best case scenario, it'll be possible to not only tech the Mutalisks, but other options as well. They also said that we'd much rather go in smaller steps to address this issue rather than tweaking something big that does something so drastic that it could cause problems in other matchups. Therefore, we're currently looking at just doing the Spore Crawler change next week at the earliest, and we also just got news that Spore Crawler change is coming tonight.
Good.
if it's not already live.
I think
checked
this
just
is
before
the
show,
one
it wasn't
where
up yet.
I read the first part and I went, oh no, they're really not doing the Spore Crawler change, and I'm glad to hear this.
Right.
Because I'm getting really sick of watching Muta versus Mutable. Like, it's kind of tedious.
I would be okay if they just said, well, Spore Crawlers are the golden gun to Mutalists now. Like, I'd be fine. I'm that sick of watching Muta versus Muta.
They do AoE bio damage for 100.
It hits one Muta, and then they just ripped the graphic of the Death Star exploding straight out of the Star Wars movie. The redone one with the ring, of course. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's cool. Kyle,
It's
you
like cheap firework.
are you looking forward to your ZVZs now, Kyle?
Ooh, very much so. But of course, there's going to be this adjustment time where I'm overspending because currently it's about mutas. I get getting made. I probably put about 8 Spore Crawlers up. Maybe I can cut this down in half now, which would be great for not only my poor drones, but my money as well. I'm really excited for a ridiculous ZVP or ZP 2-player strat where they drop Hellions in your base, but you've got Phoenixes on your side. Pick up the Hellions. Bio's in the air now. And the Spore Crawlers do their damage.
You got to make sure they're fire bats, right?
Hellbats.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, hell bats, whatever you want to call
In battle mode.
them. They can't transition modes while in the air, can they?
No.
I don't
No,
know.
that
Siege
would-
Tank,
micro.
Cannon Siege, and...
Yeah, no,
Quick!
you lose
Transition
all.
to Hellion mode so you take less damage.
Yeah, no, you lose all control of your
That's a shame.
units when they're lifted. God, I hate Phoenixes. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, this is all very cool.
Till you kill 12 of them.
Yeah.
Because the guy flew in the wrong part of your base.
Yep. Nothing like getting that nice ball of Marines right underneath the
Yep.
the Phoenixes. And they're like, oh, start lifting Marines. Oh, wait. That's really inefficient.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, when you see it in a movie and like some guys lost like a ton of money on the stock market or something, and oh god, I'm gonna be sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every time one
my
of these
gas.
comes out, though, these comments on the forums, man.
Don't read them. It is a bad.
know.
It's the Ark, man. Close your eyes.
Say goodbye to Overlord scouting in ZVZ. What world do you live in where they are getting that many that early on that you can't get a scout in? Let alone that Overlords usually die in the scout anyway.
Exactly, especially late game. It's called sacking an Overlord for a reason. Someone buy that man a definition. Or a definition. Someone buy that man a dictionary. I'm an
So
idiot.
Kyle, if somebody made some Spore Crawlers so early as to block your scouting Overlord from getting into your opponent's base, you'd be pretty happy with that, right?
It would.
I'd be like, oh, cool.
Because I mean, that's a
floodlings.
lot of money to spend on
Okay.
something like that early in the game.
Okay, it could actually have a small effect if you really want to take the time to unburrow a single Spore Crawler and put it where that slow Overlord is flying in on your creep. But early on, you're not going to have creep that far around your base. If you really notice it coming in, you pick that guy up and you move him over. That could kill him before you see something important.
I want to
But-
bang my This Week in Blizz gavel right now and tell you that we've spent far too much time indulging this moron's comment.
Right,
Sure.
and just to be clear, that would assume that you're not controlling your Overlord whatsoever.
That too.
Isn't a queen a bigger threat, really?
Yes.
Yeah, at that
absolutely.
point,
All right,
yes.
moving
And a
on.
lot more likely for it to be out. So, there you go, buddy. That brings us to the end of StarCraft. Time for some Diablo news. Patch 1.0.8 is live. We've been previewing this over the past few weeks, and players now receive a 10% bonus to Magic Find, Gold Find, and Experience per additional player in a multiplayer game, up to a maximum of a 30% bonus in a 4-player game. Players can also now identify all items in their inventory by speaking to Deckard Cain or by using the Book of Cain that can be found near the shared stash in all acts. I'm glad that they added that second part, because when I first read this, I was like, wait a minute, I can't identify anything after the first act?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! Shouldn't be listening to the show if you haven't played yet.
Yep. But yeah, I've been playing a little bit recently, and this has been pretty useful.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get back in now. We should stream some at some point and like throw it up on the YouTube. It's like, This Week in Blizz crew plays Diablo again.
Boy, could that be less interesting.
Yeah, I like to
For
think.
viewers, like, oh look, yeah.
I just had a friend get into Diablo, and I had to work hard to get rid of old hatreds, web postings, all these problems that existed from the beginning of the game had seeped so deep into his mind that he thought Diablo 3 was terrible. And it's sad.
That is kind of there's a lot of that going around.
So when is this Error 37 going to hit me?
I know, right? And and WoW has all these expansions where people can be like, no, come back, it's okay now. But Diablo might as well have announced an expansion for how much they fixed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this patch is like the multiplayer is totally badass now patch, which would be a wonderful expansion.
I think the biggest thing they've done is move away from the whole, like, this game is going to be so incredibly hard. Like, you will not be able to handle how difficult we're going to make this game.
Which is exactly what they were
doing. And they decided to make it more fun instead. Yeah. Which is probably a more viable business strategy. Because in reality, nobody wants excruciating. They want a fun time. And they want a challenge, but they want it to be fun. Yeah. If the gameplay isn't fun and it's just, like, really hard and not fun, then that's terrible.
Well, it can still be very hard. They have now given us control. Yeah. We are now the masters of our own destiny, as it were.
All right.
Also, a notification is now sent to all players in a multiplayer game whenever a party member engages an elite monster or treasure goblin in combat, and their location will be shown on the minimap.
So useful. Oh my goodness. I play this game in a way that some people might get annoyed with, or basically if you're ready to go, just go. Like, there is so much time spent in Diablo for me picking strategies, going, ooh, well, maybe now that I have that, I can get my full frost spec. I got one new frost spell, and I've got to change everything so I'm frost themed now. So I spend forever in town, and now when Kristen goes running into a horrible mob, I can instantly teleport her to her, help her out. I mean, this is a wonderful change, and
This is great for single player too, personally. Like, this is where I haven't played any multiplayer games in this patch, but this is tremendous. Going, oh, you've engaged so and so. I'm like, I have. Like, you see something on the edge of your screen that's a little bit blue or gold or something. You're like, and then you can immediately see what you're actually dealing with, which is really nice. Just to be alerted about the fact that you've triggered a treasure goblin rather than 5 or 6 seconds later when he's already halfway across the map.
Right. That's very cool.
It's a nice quality of life change. It actually it's almost more. It almost makes it like slightly more urgent, if that makes sense. Like, it makes it a more pressing requirement for you to have to deal with something like that.
Well, it makes a little sound too. So those names, like, John the Butcher, you're like, who? What? Oh, let's kick his ass. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very nice in that context. I'm a fan of that.
And
it's a small thing, but
and a ton of ability buffs are in. We talked about a bunch of them at length over the past month. So those are all in, especially the healing spells across the board got big buffs. So the game's just, like you said, Ben, more fun.
Yep.
Unless you wanted to play the auction house this past week. There was a glitch in the Diablo auction house as a result of the most recent patch that allowed players to duplicate their gold.
Yeah, man, Masingo that gold.
Yeah, so Blizzard threw the switch to off on the auction house, and it was down for quite a while. So anyways, gentlemen,
shut down everything.
Yeah, so
so from what I understand is they increased the limit of how much money you could put up in a single stack on the auction house for, if you're selling gold on the real money auction house. Mm-hmm. Something got screwed up somewhere along the way. Some sort of integer overflow, something happened with number of digits in a variable, I don't know. Something like that happened. And basically what happened is you can put up more money than the system would let you do, and then you could cancel your auction. And basically any money that was beyond the whatever the limit was, it was like 1.2 million or something, I don't know. It was a bunch. But any money beyond that you put up for auction, you get refunded back, but you would already have the money back in your stash, and so you would basically make a ton of gold.
Yeah. Dismal Jester makes a good point in the chat room too, that they also turned off gold trading directly in game, so everyone's assets were just
really?
frozen.
That's interesting.
Like, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they had two options on how to deal with this, right? The first one is really undesirable. You can do a full rollback. Everybody loses all character progression, and it's really brutal. And that makes for a super unfun experience. Like, everybody hates that. That's how you get players to cancel their subscription or to just quit playing the game.
Yeah.
So instead, what they chose to do was carefully sort of audit every single one of these transactions that happened. And it's only in, like, like 418 players did this or something, like a remarkably small number.
Yeah, bans were handed out, suspensions, all that kind of jazz.
Right. Money was taken away from people, confiscated.
Right. The cool thing about this is that they said that they're donating all the proceeds from auctions conducted by suspended or banned players, including
this is
all
for
of their,
the real money auction house specifically.
Right. So people who were selling gold for a profit and whatever end up getting banned or suspended. But they said all of their sale proceeds that they intercepted, as well as their transaction fee, is being donated to the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So
this is, this is great, but it's also a very, very smart move on their part. They can't afford to keep it.
Right.
It's not theirs.
It'd be incredibly bad PR.
Yeah.
Or just confiscating it and keeping it. It's like when I go on a cruise and try to sneak on booze and they take my booze, and it's like, you didn't throw it out. You're having a poker night down in the brig.
Yep. But yeah, so they handled this admirably well, but it was down for quite a few days, almost a week, I think. Yeah.
Yep. I think
but it was kind of a big deal.
The rest of the world should do this. When stolen money is apprehended, we should just donate it to awesome causes.
And we should freeze the economy.
I'm sure that's not what I meant. Not what I meant at all. I was going for the happy-go-lucky answer, but okay.
Hey, I'd be okay if I didn't have to work till 12 on Tuesdays.
Sure. You also don't be able to buy food.
Mind you don't get to eat either, but that's fine.
Yeah, but servers are down, go home.
I've got cans.
Sleep in.
I've got canned food. I'll be fine.
Those cans are glitched. Wait for the update.
Campbell's is rolling out patch 2.0.3 next week.
You can trade in all your tomato soups for Chunky.
Is clearing out the patch that made all the labels look like an Andy Warhol painting.
Yep.
I would like that patch. That'd be cool. So, all right, that does it for Diablo. It's time for Mailbox. We got some emails in this week. First up, Andreios wrote in and said, "Hey, Garrett, Kyle, and Ben. Two thoughts for you, but we split it up. I'll put a second thought in next week email, because we also got another email that was really long this week. But he says, last week, you guys, this would be 2 weeks ago now, you guys had a great lore discussion revolving around who might be the next war chief. I enjoyed it, but confess that I was somewhat lost in trying to follow all of the events you discussed. I played Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3, and I'm very familiar with the storyline from the RTS days, but I didn't start playing WoW until shortly before Cataclysm, and I actually hadn't made it out of Elwyn before everything changed forever. I'm still only level 51, I don't get to play much. So much of what you guys were discussing I never experienced and likely never will. My question is, did all those things happen in-game as world events, etc., in the novels? Etc. should have come after the novels, sir. But he says, and do you know of a resource where the story so far is spelled out so someone like me can review it? I know Battle.net has got a section going through each expansion, but it's not so detailed as to reveal things like Sylvanas having the shards of Frostmourne. I'm hoping there's a better chronicle out there somewhere.
Yes. to all of the above. Well, I mean, it was the novels, and I haven't really read any of the novels personally. I don't know how I know a lot of this information. I think most of it's in-game stuff.
A lot of it's in-game. I believe, like, for Sylvanas having the Shards of Frostmourne, I believe that's referenced if you roll a new Undead tune now in the beginning.
Yeah, like a lot of this stuff is not just in
also,
like end-game content. It's
right.
like if you roll a Worgen, you have an interaction between Sylvanas and I think Garrosh.
Yeah, a lot of it is hidden in quest text or conversation between two NPCs while questing, and it's very, very easy to miss out on the story.
Yeah, and also notably, a lot of that stuff is still in there, even with the Cataclysm change. Like, they didn't like retcon stuff and dramatically remove big chunks of the story. It's actually remarkably consistent still, and I don't feel like there's anything huge that's been removed from the game.
No, you miss little things like little things. Wrathgate, not little, awesome, but you did.
Well, Wrathgate isn't little. You can still do it.
No, you can't.
You can't?
No, That was
Why not?
removed. That was removed during Lich King.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That sucks. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really freaking awesome. It was kind of the grandfather of scenarios. Only, in my opinion, done better.
Yeah, it was bigger budget and more epic, right?
Yeah. It's, it'd be like the Avengers the
Really?
movie.
If you
and then
quest through that area, it's not phased? It's not in there still?
No, gone completely.
Really?
Unless they put it back in, but it was released. It was removed during the Lich King expansion.
Well, it was immensely popular at the time. So.
I think it was removed around the same time as TOC's patch. If memory serves. Feel free to email me and tell me I'm wrong or correct me or tell me I'm right. But I'm pretty damn sure it was gone. Also, a lot of these were covered in short stories that Blizzard posts on WorldOfWarcraft.com. I know specifically there is a couple-page story about Sylvanas returning to Icecrown after the death of Arthas and retrieving the shards of Frostmourne, which I love the idea that a bunch of heroes killed Arthas, broke Frostmourne, and then just left it laying there.
Right? After looting everything maniacally. Just be like, that? Well, those are evil. Drop those. Let's go.
Yeah.
Drop 'em. Don't pick that up.
Yeah, exactly. But
I have to say that the easiest way to do it now probably is to read through something like Wowpedia. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's like if you've ever gotten sucked into like reading Wikipedia articles. You know, like you go from reading about brain surgery to the Battle of Agincourt in like 6 or 7 clicks. Like it's not that hard to do, and it's super easy to get sucked into and spend like far too many hours just reading about stuff that you normally have no context for. But this is kind of same. There's a lot of technical information on this is how you level this thing, right? But I mean, if you want to go read about Chen Stormstout and his biography and his early life, and it'll cover stuff like, here's what happened in the comics, and this is specifically from Warcraft 3, and this is what he did then, you know what I mean? And it's got a whole bunch of stuff in between, or, it'll talk about different parts from the different novels, and it'll give you his whole biography, and from there you click another link, and it'll take you to a different character, and it's a whole world, you know what I mean? It's really, there's a lot of it out there. So I think that's one of the best ways to do it. That's the way I've learned a large portion of the lore. Like, I've been curious about Vol'jin, and I went and found this Wikipedia article, and let me tell you, it is long. And it's got like transcripts of his conversations with Garrosh and like all sorts of stuff. So even if you don't experience that specifically, it's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, that's a very the Wowpedia is probably the best bet.
Right. And there's other wikis out there that are similar too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's some great books. I enjoyed Tides of War. I have never read Arthas. I don't know why, because I've got such a raging hard-on for that character.
I got bored halfway through Tides of War.
Oh, did you? Okay. See, everyone I talk to who's read all of the Warcraft novels says that Arthas is the best one.
I frankly, I don't care about those characters very much.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just me or if it's like I was totally indifferent. I'm like, wow, this just reads like sort of very mediocre fantasy. It's not. It's not something
They're not on the same level as most of the Halo novels. I'll give you that.
But even like half the Halo novels are kind of bad. Like they're not.
The ones that are good are really freaking good. Fall of Reach is such a damn good book.
Fairly entertaining does not make them a good book. Like they're
Oh, I'm gonna jump through the internet at you.
Yeah.
Fall of Reach is such a damn good book.
There's other things that I would much rather read, even from an entertaining perspective. Like it just was not that appealing, frankly.
Okay. Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yep. Have you ever noticed that it's like the same like 4 or 5 authors who do like everything ever? They'll do like all the Star Wars books, and like you'll see their names over on all the WoW books, and it's like, wait a minute.
Well,
like,
they're fantasy and science fiction authors.
Yeah, right. But they'll specifically do licensed stuff. You know what I mean? They're not writing their own.
Yeah, but okay, we're artists. I mean, it's the same stuff in the art world.
Oh, sure. But yeah, exactly. Like Christy Golden, Dismal brings that up as an example. Like you could find any. I promise you could go pick any existing intellectual property, and I'm sure she's written a book about it. It's really funny. Yeah, like they're specialists clearly for adapting their tone to whatever the thing is. It's just I was just amused to see that.
Right.
Well, it takes a certain book knowledge kind of person like R.A. Salvador, and someone who can just wander into that much lore compared to someone like Rowling, who just has all these ideas in her head and kind of gets stuck in one world that she has to make up. But it's a lot more introductory when you read it. I don't know if you've ever sat down to read a Forgotten Realms book, but
have you ever noticed intense. That the sort of narrative cadence of any R.A. Salvatore book is totally like a D&D campaign? Like everything about it. It's like the party then stopped at, to make camp for the night. And then they encountered a thing.
You're saying if you're a lazy DM, you could just pick up an R.A. Salvatore book and recite it verbatim?
Well, considering he's written literally half the fluff for D&D out there over the course of time, that's not surprising. But it's funny how much it reads like that. You know what I mean? There's no...
Well, it works, too, because that's the market. I mean, that's the audience.
It's funny how irrelevant the characters are almost. It's just kind of like, yes, you could clearly place your whatever character you've made up into this situation.
Right. Which is going to happen to us the more and more we play this damn Star Wars RPG.
Yeah, well, at least there's nobody going, this guy seems to be lawful neutral,
Okay. All right. But anyways, Andreas, hope we helped you out with that. We'll have the second part of your email on next week's show. Paul, the programmer from last week, wrote back in and said, well, since you asked, here's my programmer thoughts on why we can't make backpacks bigger.
And many other things.
Dude, I want to just give you the biggest round of applause because this is the most obscenely long and detailed response to any question we have ever posed on the show. And there's no way I can read it all on the show. It breaks my heart. It's great. So
he's in the chat, by the way.
Awesome. Hey, Paul, I did not know that. That's freaking great. So I'm going to give everyone the gist of your email, and everyone can see the full message in its entirety over at thisweekinblizz.com tomorrow once I get the show notes up. So go check it out. And again, big thanks to you, dude, Paul. Feel free to write in any time with your 2 cents on programming stuff. He said, I'm basing my information on some of the private server data mining that was done, as well as information Blizzard has released in the past. He said, reading over everything again, it seems to not really be a problem with how hard it is to make a change, but rather the consequences of said change. He said, to give a little bit of background, the main difficulty is that backpacks aren't dealt with on the server in the same way that bags are. So the easy solution is more difficult. If someone, when the game launched, decided to make backpacks the same as bags, which in my opinion is the right thing to do programming-wise, you want as much as your code using common functions as possible to remove complexity and reduce testing. He said we wouldn't be having this conversation if that's what they had done at the launch of World of Warcraft. We wouldn't be having this problem. And it's funny because you talk to developers during a lot of the times during the Ask the Devs, the developers kind of say that I came in and a lot of the work that was done in Vanilla WoW, it was like they weren't planning ahead. Yeah. And they're you can tell they're trying to tiptoe and not throw the old developers under the bus.
That guy Steve, who was fired 6 months ago,
exactly.
They were a mess.
But you definitely get this kind of feeling that they're just oh, son of a bitch, why would you do this? This isn't Madden 2012, dude. I don't get to rewrite this next year. Yeah. I have to keep building on top of this. And you kind of get that air. And then he goes in and he cites stuff from specific Ask the Devs. He talks about the definition of the problem. And he said some of the possible solutions could be add an additional bag slot, allow the backpack to be resized, replace the backpack with a different bag, give out bigger and bigger bags, ignoring the backpack, which is kind of what they've been doing. It is what they've been doing, or rework the storage system entirely. And then the crazy thing is he goes into all of this and actually writes out multiple paragraphs for every one of these bullet points, and it's very well thought out.
It's basically a computer science white paper. That's kind of what it reads like. It's very detailed, and if you're interested, you should definitely go read this.
That's great. And he even gives his opinion of what he thinks, how challenging this would be. So it's funny, especially to read the things he thinks are very risky. For example, replace the backpack with a different bag. is very risky. So he says this is where the risk lies. He said that the problem that I am gathering is that the backpack is not stored in the same way as other bags. So if you were to swap it with another bag, you would need to change the backpack to use the bag system. This is where the risk lies. This also makes it riskier than the above fixes, since you are affecting both the backpack data and the bag data, basically adding a new bag slot, moving the items into the backpack to the bag slot, then removing the backpack so the user doesn't end up with 2 copies. So, yeah.
Right.
Go check it out.
He says in chat that, this is really true for a lot of software jobs, and that there tends to be a lot of baggage that just remains in the code based on things someone else did.
Tell me you made that pun on purpose. There's a lot of baggage in the code. Yeah.
But basically, you don't want to break it because it affects everything. And anything that's sort of actively used like this, like that stores data, you know what I mean? It's not just your copy of Word. Although I'm sure that has its own just ridiculous complexities. Yep, this is really fascinating.
Yeah.
And it's
Thank you,
long.
Paul. Yeah, thank you, Paul. Your entire
we
message.
might consult in the future for any questions that we have.
Yeah, I definitely will be shooting you emails if we have questions about specific stories that pop up in the week. Go over to thisweekinblizz.com, read Paul's entire message. And that does it for this week's episode of This Week in Blizz. If you'd like to help us, if you'd like to help out the show and help us out for free, you can do so by leaving us a review in the iTunes store. It is one of the, if not the best way, to ensure that new people find our show. So thank you everyone who has done so. This Week in Blizz is a production of amove.tv. You can see more about This Week in Blizz over at thisweekinblizz.com, and you can email us at thisweekinblizz@gmail.com. We record the podcast live every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern over at amove.tv/live, so make sure you tune in, chat with us. As you see today, we refer to the chat room for certain questions, and they're wonderful. So let's get more of you wonderful listeners in there. Hopefully we'll see you next Monday. Follow us on Twitter at This Week in Blizz. My personal Twitter is at GarrettArt. Kyle is at Kyle Ferguson, and Ben is at Pixel Garbage. You can join us in WoW at... Actually, Ben, is the guild site back up and running yet?
No, it's not. I broke it. I totally deleted it by accident.
All right.
So don't go there just yet. I'll have it back up
we got
sometime
some
next week.
Yeah, we got a few emails.
Yeah, I was consolidating Squarespace accounts, and I'm an idiot, and I just totally deleted it completely. Yep.
Nice. So we're going to have to remake the guild site from complete scratch. In the meantime,
there's none of the data left at all.
Exactly. We're on Lightbringer US, Alliance side. Ben, what tune should they be messaging? Achromic?
I guess, if I'm on.
Okay.
That's the problem.
If you see Achromic on...
You can do a who for like people in the guild, right?
Yeah, just search for
Versus the World.
VS the World. So
yeah, so anybody who's on, you can ask them.
Just message them, and they can hopefully hook you up. But we'll let you know when the site is back up.
Sorry, my bad.
We're geniuses. Check us out on our new show, the Campaign Roundtable. We're doing Portal 2 Part 2 tomorrow, and we'll be moving on to Bioshock Infinite after that. Go to nomoonart.com for my stream graphic designs. If you need stream graphics or anything of that nature for your Twitch page or whatever you may be streaming on, which is weird because Owned is gone now. But hey, maybe you found something that I don't know about. Check it out. I'm always available for freelance. And Kyle, where can people find you?
You can also find me at my other podcast, Biggest Fan Podcast, where this week we are doing Baz Luhrmann. I know Kristen's super excited about seeing Great Gatsby tomorrow. I am not seduced by the trailer. That makes it look like an action movie. I am full aware of what happens in the book, and I am frightened about my evening. But
they cut in like the 2 fists thrown and the 1 car accident that's in the entire...
Right?
They made the whole trailer about that.
It looked like it's like a Las Vegas, Ocean's 11 slugfest, and then he's going to go back in time at the end or something. The trailer's ridiculous, but Baz Luhrmann week, and that's also some other movies. You got Strictly Ballroom, if anyone ever saw that. Romeo and Juliet, of course.
Love it.
Australia, Moulin Rouge.
I love Moulin Rouge.
Well, who doesn't?
Such a good movie. Mm-hmm. Lots of guys, I know, they're very averse to it. They think it's a chick flick. It is not. It is awesome, and if you are not moved to tears by Obi-Wan's vocal cords, you don't have a soul. Ewan McGregor, not the other guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he sang, though. He was a big Broadway actor, but I don't think he sang in Moulin Rouge. In fact, I think he was dead.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't alive, which is just sad. Anyways, go check that out. Please also check out our sponsors, DoghouseSystems.com and TweakedAudio.com. Our code is TWiB, TWiB. That code gets you double memory for free on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. I love mine to death, and their customer service is just phenomenal. So make sure you go check them out. If you are in the market for a new computer, you will not do better anywhere else if you're trying to get a gaming rig. Use our code, support our show, get double memory for your troubles. That same code gets you 30% off and free shipping from of your entire order of noise-reducing earbuds from tweakedaudio.com. So make sure you go over there to get some nice, new, comfortable buds that sound great to listen to your favorite podcast song. And we thank them for their support. Guys, thanks for showing up as usual.
Yep.
You're welcome.
When you don't show up. Every episode, guys, this is behind the scenes. I actually have to call them and berate them and cuss at them until they finally answer the Skype call. And it's like, man, I don't want to do it. No.
Fine.
You guys are great. We've been doing this for over a year now. And
Jeez, has it really been?
It's been over a year. And I couldn't be happier with two of the ugliest guys in radio. So
That's why we do radio, man.
Yeah, surprised we do a web stream.
We do it so we did get it done on time. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week for episode 57. Have a good week, everyone.
Take care.